Hey, 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 welcome back to Common Mansplaining. This is Eddie, that's Christian. And there's been a lot of crazy stuff happening in the world. We're going to go into it. Biden's been saying some pretty spicy things and a bunch of other wild stuff going on. But before we get started, please hit like, please hit subscribe, turn your notifications on, and find like 2 or 3 million of your closest friends and share the videos with them. Promise we'll take care of you. All right, so Biden recently called all Trump supporters garbage.
I feel personally targeted.
Yeah.
As a common man.
You look like garbage. Garbage. Not Trump, by the way. Trump supporters. This is the first. Usually I hear attacks on Trump all the time. I hear, fascist, dictator, blah, blah, autocrat, blah, 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 blah. But every time someone prods them for more, like every time they go on an interview and someone's like, are you saying that half of the Americans, they're always like, no, not Americans. But this time, apparently, they just don't hold back anymore. They're just like, all Trump supporters are garbage. And in Madison Square Garden, MSNBC is now drawing a direct tie to the rally in Madison Square Garden that Trump had to a Nazi rally from 1938 or something. And I'm flabbergasted. I'm like,
yeah, obviously if you do something that MSNBC doesn't appreciate, then you're a Nazi.
oh yes, right. I don't know what I was thinking. I should have asked them first, like if this was going to be, if it's okay. I should ask them for permission to vote for everyone. Anybody I want to vote for, just call my MSNBC hotline, see if that's okay.
Yes, Trump's number one enemy is the media, right? And so, but if I have some thoughts, I think a lot of Trump's tendencies to be a jerk and to be abrasive, I think he reserves those against other elites. Yeah. I think personally, privately, when he interacts with common people like us, he tends to be very, charitable, low-key, and things like that.
Kind of down to earth a little bit.
But when another elite, somebody on his level, he sort of picks on people his own size. Right? He is an elite. A peer says something, he's not going to take that anymore. And he's really abrasive with them, and they're not used to that. Elites are used to being treated, everybody around them kowtows them and treats them with, is a yes man around them, especially media elites. They've risen to a position to get on TV. They're feeling pretty good about themselves. They don't like somebody who calls them out. And so a lot of their vitriol, I think, comes out just the media disliking him and disliking how he, and he won't put up for it. He'll react.
Right. They don't want someone that actually pushes. It's kind of like, back in school when somebody bullied the bullies, like someone fought back, and usually there's a bully in every school, sometimes 2 or 3, but usually in most schools, in my school, there definitely was at least one guy who and every time somebody got bullied, there was a guy that would stick up for the little guy. And I feel like it's funny because a lot of this is show and theater, but I feel like the more they come after him, the more they make him seem like this white knight that's coming to the common man's defense. And I wonder at the strategy. I wonder at is this tactically smart?
So it's a gaffe.
Yeah.
Biden he's always been prone to gaffes. Yeah. And the media has, for a large part, not reported on them, tried to move the story along and not. But this being so close, people caught on it. And what a gaffe is people speaking how they really feel, rather than the political platitude that they're supposed to say.
Yeah.
So this is sort of a window in his actual feelings. And we should trust him when he says he thinks we're garbage. Believe him when he says that. But I think Trump's response today at his rally in Rocky Mount, North Carolina,
what he said,
is just how can you lead America if you hate Americans, right?
What a great line. And I'll tell you what, every attack that I have seen leveled at Trump, every single attack that I've seen leveled at Trump. And guys, those of you who've been watching the channel for a while know that I don't like Trump. I've never been a Trump fan, and I can be honest with you.
I'm very ambivalent about it.
Everyone who tries to map me as someone who's voting for Trump would be confused because I'm not. I'm voting against this machine that is the Kamala. The Kamala Harris just happens to be the figurehead.
Doesn't care about people.
Right. It doesn't really matter. They don't care about They don't care about people, the common person at all. And it doesn't matter who's running it. Like Kamala Harris is just the Queen of England for them. It's just it's like an empty title, right? And that's why she's only allowed to say sixth thing. I'm a middle class kid, and so forth and so on. And every attack that she's levied,
the figurehead, is what you're
absolutely,
saying. Yeah.
Absolutely. Every attack that she's levied against Trump, every single one of them it's like something she's projecting, because any threat to democracy that Trump engenders, they're literally targeting him with how many different lawsuits?
Yeah,
primary political opponent.
If Trump's a threat to democracy, she wasn't democratically chosen to be.
Yeah, right. Like she was just coronated.
She didn't face a primary, right?
Right.
So she the pot and the kettle kind of it's hypocritical.
Absolutely.
But then what were the other points?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everything. Like let's say anytime she calls him like a dictator or an autocrat. The irony is, if you looked at the way that Trump ran the nation for 4 years, and this is all we really have to go on, because I got to be honest,
he delegated. Yeah,
he delegates a lot. His policies are very anti-regulatory, like so he's trying to remove immediate power from the executive branch. He does. I mean, he brought in. I could go on and on and on, but it's like
judges that see the Constitution as a limit on government.
That's crazy. That's crazy talk, right?
Yeah,
that's crazy talk. I mean, and every single she calls him a Nazi. I don't even think they know what a Nazi is. I don't think they know what a fascist is. But I took the liberty of looking up Umberto Eco's 14 points just to refresh myself, and Trump has like 3 of them, maybe. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe 2.5. It's like one of them is arguable, but like the other 11, I just don't understand where they are getting this from. If she's chastising Trump for saying the enemy from within, someone who paints all of the opposing supporters as garbage and Nazis is doing far. Like, which would you rather be called? An enemy from within or a Nazi? A Nazi.
So, for me, I kind of rolled my eyes at this, and maybe some people do. It's more of the same. Because they called George W. Bush, who they love now because he's not in power and can't run for office, threat to the American way of life and everything like that. Mitt Romney, they called, was going to put black people back in chains and was the devil. And who's the left's number one Republican that they love is Mitt Romney.
You remember Dick Cheney being literally like Satan?
Oh,
Oh yeah. And now they're proud to have him in their corner.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
Right. So they've been using this rhetoric over and over again, and so it fails to resound. And the definition of fascist and fascism doesn't matter anymore. They think that people see it as it's a negative insult, or that they've done enough polling to see people know I don't want a fascist leading the government. So calling someone a fascist over and over again will maybe reinforce psychologically a negative thing that low information voters won't dig into it and will just have a bad taste in their mouth, sort of a psychological trigger when they see his name and associate him with fascism. Whether it's true or not, it's just a label they want to plant on him because of its negative connotation.
Right, yeah, like they do the special interest groups that like these guys, tell you how much scuffing should be on your shoes and what color tie your shoe thing is supposed to be in, and apparently what the worst label to slam somebody with in an October surprise is, and that's, I'm sure that's up there. Nazi's got to be up there. I did a study once. I debated against 30 Republicans and 30 Democrats, and one of the things, you guys can go check out the video, but one of the things I learned was the way they kind of like attack, the way they target, the way they throw slurs and stuff. The left was much more likely to challenge your heart, your
motivation.
Not just your motivations, but like even deeper than that. Like they were much more likely to challenge like your morality, your ethics, your core ability to be humane, and the right was much more likely to target your brain, your logic, your your methodology, those kind of things, like kind of like technical problems with your arguments and stuff like that. But yeah, but I guess, I mean, does that just mean that because they have the more visceral response with their name calling, are they gonna just, is that an advantage, do you think?
So, do you know about the limbic part of the brain?
A little, yeah.
Yeah, that's the part of the brain where emotions and memories are stored, and then there's the analytical neocortex part of the brain where the analytical, the numbers, and but the limbic part is very powerful and addictive, and triggering and trying to get people to react on the limbic brain is really, I think, what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
It's trying to not make an intellectual or an argument that people have to think about. Just have it be an emotional, response, and that's a whole rabbit hole you can go down to. But I think that approach, that everybody has a limbic and a neocortex and uses them together, but and everybody's susceptible to arguments appealing to both of those. But I see this more of the same, but since it's really just baseless and it's just name calling, I believe it is trying to arouse emotional, disgust.
Yeah. A lot of people will, and I would wager that most people that vote for Trump in this election, well, maybe not most, but a good portion of them are just voting against Kamala Harris, and a huge portion of the people that are voting for Kamala are just voting against Trump. It's like it's kind of like the Hillary.
Well, it worked for Biden.
Yeah,
and that's why they're running that playbook, right? And it's so many Democratic elections, just calling the opponent a racist, a fascist. These things that people have negative emotional responses to have succeeded.
Right.
And so they're playing it. What we hope is that with the new generation, that card has been played so much that it doesn't elicit an emotional response anymore.
Well, they keep trying.
That they roll their eyes and they say something, and that Trump's appeal to, how can you lead America when you don't love Americans, and that those things actually trigger their emotional response.
Well, they love,
and that they feel more bonded to that, and that feels more genuine to them, in spite of Trump's off-puttingness. But I would say Trump's off-puttingness and combativeness is directed towards other elites, and especially his enemies that are on his level. He's not trying to pick on people, on the common man. He's trying to pick on the powers that be, the prevailing state, the deep state, and the media state.
Right. Now, they love half of America. They love the half that agrees with them. They like the other half. I mean, and it's funny because that's one of the other things that they've levied at Trump is they say he's going to use the military against the enemy within. By the way, that's a conflation of two different conversations. One was he was discussing the enemy within, like people that are like truly like opposed to the American way of life. True people that, and he didn't really specify anybody, I don't think, but even if he did, you're talking about like spies and like traitors and people who are like truly trying to disrupt America, right? It's like it's like imagine a monster, and then that's the person that he's trying to
Somebody who wakes up in the morning and how can I have the American state fail?
Right. Or at least how can I change it in such a fundamental way that it's no longer what it was and it's a new thing now. And the people that Trump said he was going to use the military on were the people who decided to riot out of control. If it gets out of control, he said he wouldn't hesitate to use National Guard to get it back in control. He wasn't talking about using the military to go after random like people who oppose him. That's a lie. It drives me nuts that everyone calls Trump the liar. Here's another one of those accusations, right? He's a liar. And he lies more than anybody else they've ever seen, except for when they talk about him, I hear lie, hyperbole, lie, exaggeration, lie. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? If you are truly trying to turn the page and you don't want people that are going to just name call all day long, then why are you equating half of America with Nazism?
I would say, and it will be played up, but it's a misstep. It's a bad thing, but it is why it's going to be played up. Why it should be played up is it's a window into their true feelings.
Yeah,
and we should trust them and believe them when they say that they think we're garbage.
absolutely. And I'll tell you what, I think that Trump, for all of his flaws, I mean, I think most of the time when he's talking, it's like it's almost like a game show demeanor, right? Like, and I think if people say it's unfair to grade him on a curve, but I think that's just the normal way to grade him. Like, that's not even it's not like a stretch or like you're being unfair to him. It's just you can analyze it very clearly that he's playing a showmanship game, and a lot of his stuff is posturing, like tariffs, probably posturing, right? It's probably bluster, right? He's probably trying to like set up the stage, right? And a lot of this is like, but with Kamala, I don't get that sense. I get every time she says something nasty, I'm like, wow, she sounded like my third grade school teacher that was a really nasty person. Just like, really?
Yeah. I trust that anything she says is something she says to get elected, but she's going to govern based on how her advisors tell her, and I think her advisors are the deep cabal of the Democratic Party that got her appointed.
Right.
That got Biden to step aside.
What do you guys think? Put your comments below. This election, I know they say this every single time, right? That it's the most important election that you'll ever be in every single time. I don't think I've ever seen an election that isn't. But I think this one actually might be one of the most important elections. If not, it's definitely in my top two that I think.
It's the most important for the next 4 years.
Put your comments below. Let us know what you think, and we'll catch you next time on Common Mansplaining.